and I'm joined with two awesome roommates who are also good friends.
Resnick. I'm a senior neuroscience major here at Agnes Scott.
Hi, I'm Anjane Williams. I'm a senior math major at Agnes Scott.
This upcoming year will be our 4th year living together.
So, what's the magical secret? How do you get along so well for the past 3 years?
I think that one of the things that allowed them to match us together very well was honesty. We both told the truth and said that we were messy on our roommate. What are they called?
We had you guys have the little cool
Please don't
matching
snore.
please don't snore thing. But back when we were first years, we just filled out kind of a questionnaire about sleep habits, if we were messy or clean, if we were all that kind of stuff that is important for roommate stuff. And we were both brutally honest about our lack of cleanliness. Not in a gross way.
So
Lack of tidiness.
Yes, let's say that.
We're both clean. We're just not tidy.
Ooh, okay. What was it like the first time y'all met each other at move-in day?
It was very awkward.
It was absolutely terrible. I got there really early because my parents are crazy.
We were actually supposed to be there around the same time.
But I came during the A through L or whatever time slot, even though my last name is an R, because my parents are like, we're going to get there at 8 o'clock, So I was already unpacked and had all my stuff set out, and my parents were curled up in my bed because they were tired after helping me unpack, aka they unloaded one box. And so Anjane and her family come in, and my parents are passed out on my bed, and we just gotta look over and make eye contact, and it's I don't know you, but we live together now, and it was really weird.
Yeah. Beforehand, we didn't really talk that much. We texted. Is that even a word?
Yeah, a little bit.
We texted a little bit, so I didn't really know Jessica. So it was very, very weird.
Yeah, I was on vacation when she started texting me, and I didn't really respond, and there wasn't a lot of chit-chat beforehand like you guys have going on Facebook.
What tips do you have for the first years who have roommates that they've never met before? Or just roommate tips in general?
I think one major tip is to communicate and to be honest. You guys don't really know each other yet, and living together
is completely different than anything.
It's very different, and so you don't know exactly how each other operates. What means one thing to one person may not mean the same thing to another. Jessica's very open with her things, and so when she says you can borrow without permission, that means that you can borrow without permission. But one person may say, well, this is forever permission.
Don't you have a gigantic earring collection?
I do.
If I recall correctly.
She does, and she said I don't have to ask, so this is permission.
Wow.
Anjane doesn't have to ask to borrow my things, and I truly mean that. But other people might say, oh yeah, you can borrow any of my stuff, but want you to ask every time so they know what you're borrowing and when you're borrowing it. Which is fair, but they may not realize that when they're saying, oh yeah, go ahead and use my stuff, that they really have that contingency, if you ask me every time. So be open, be honest. Don't be afraid to ask each other questions, even if they seem silly or obvious, because they really may not be silly or obvious.
Yeah. One of the first questions I asked Jessica was, does she mind if I don't wear pants in the room?
I was on vacation, and I get this text hey, I'm going to be your roommate. And I was like, hey, cool. And she's like, question, will it bother you if I don't wear pants? And I was like, who is this pantsless girl that I'm going to live with? I turned to the person next to me and said, am I reading this correctly? But no, I was like, yeah, do you. Go pantsless. I support you.
I definitely think that it's better to be more strict at the beginning when you don't know each other, because I forgot.
For setting boundaries?
Yeah. When it comes to setting boundaries, because you don't really know the person.
It's easy to be all excited and be like, we're going to be best friends. We're going to live together. Oh my gosh, let's get matching tattoos. But then, I don't know what kids do these days. Just kidding. No, but it's easy to be really excited and say, oh, we don't need to put into writing, like, when we're going to take out the trash, how we're going to do our alarms in the morning.
How we feel about guests coming over.
If we're going to make our beds every day. Don't do it. Like, stuff like that. It's easy to be like, oh, we're both mature college ladies. We don't need, actually you do need to set this stuff, like, in stone. Write it down, even if it seems silly.
I definitely have to say my room was clean for the first couple of weeks of school, and then things got real.
Mine was probably clean for 2 weeks.
But things still got real.
They got real really fast. So yeah, don't be afraid to like say that these are the things that you want out of your room. Like a lot of us are coming from our own rooms at home, and we're used to having our own space and everything done a certain way, and it's okay to share how you feel and what you want with your roommate. Now you're gonna have to compromise on some things, but it's better to say what you want and need than just think it and then be mad when you don't get it.
What about guests? How do you decide when they're okay and when they're not okay to be in the room? Or how do you notify your roommate that you have a guest arriving soon?
I think it can be as simple as a text message, if that's what you guys agree on.
Yeah, and I think that it's okay to say, like, you don't want people in your room after a certain hour on weeknights, or it's okay to want things a certain way. Like, it's okay to be like, hey, I really don't want you bringing your partner over after 10 o'clock on school nights because, I'm trying to study or unwind or do my thing, and it's distracting, or it's, hard for me to whatever. Like, it's cool to set these rules and these boundaries. And remember that guests are not just, like, romantic partners. They're friends, potentially family members, potentially overbearing moms. Like, can Anjane's mom have a cot in the middle of our room? Maybe not, but maybe she can come once a week. Limit things.
She doesn't want to come once a week. I think it's also important to discuss privacy in guests. Like, if you want your roommate to leave the room while you have a guest, that's important to discuss. I think that's important to discuss way beforehand.
Yeah.
Not
as soon as you have a guest over being like, hey, would you mind leaving for 8 hours?
Yeah.
Because they might not feel so great about that.
Not at all.
But you guys can set up some kind of system, like if you need alone time in the room, having like a 24-hour notice so that they can make plans to hang out in someone else's room or to study in the library or to go somewhere. Like, it's not unreasonable to want some time alone in your room because it's crazy to be around someone all the time. But you have to keep in mind that both of you have needs and wants, and both of those needs and wants are important, and how to balance them.
What about when a guest comes over? Like, can they stay in your bed? Or can they, like, sit on your roommate's corner of their bed? Can they, like, be on your desk? Yeah, like, what is the limit? Because some people are like, no, nobody can touch my bed. Like, that is where I sleep. And other people are like, well, you can sit at the end of my bed, but you can't be all
don't
the way
pull
on
down
there.
the comforter and touch the sheets,
Yeah.
but you can sit on top of the comforter.
Or, like, anybody can sleep in my bed when I'm not there.
Yeah.
Like, how do you establish rules like that?
I think that's important to discuss. Because I have a friend who doesn't want anybody in their bed if they have not showered.
She's crazy.
Very recently. It doesn't matter if it's on top of the bed, underneath the sheets, at the end of the bed. It doesn't matter. And so I think it's really preference. I think that you guys should discuss that. I don't want anybody sleeping in my bed while I'm not there unless they've asked and I know who they are.
Right. I don't want to come home and find some random man sleeping in my bed. Sorry, Anjane. No. But these are just all important things to be aware of. Like, if I tell Anjane if she can borrow any of my stuff, does that mean that if her friend comes over and wants to borrow my stuff, does that apply? Or if I tell Anjane she can sit in my chair or she can sit on my bed, does that mean that when she has people over, do these things apply to them as well? Like, be clear about how far your sharing or generosity or whatever extends.